I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great organisation, and I've loved hearing about how much it's working with people online, which I think is really important now, particularly with the message of positive thinking and sort of empowering young people to sort of take a bit of control of their own lives and, you know, sort of stand up for themselves if they need to do that. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, you go away. Bullying for me, it breaks my heart, and it's something that I haven't seen, I didn't see firsthand when I was at school, I think, because I went to a really nice school. But I think since I started the blog particularly, I've seen a really sort of dark side to school, and that is bullying, which has shocked me, but also, you know, it's something that I've always been told about. It's sad, it's really sad, and it's all too common, I think. And that's what bullying means to me, is that it's such a common place in school, and that's something we need to, it's not good enough. I had one boy who used to bully me when I was little for having a big forehead, and as a result of that I went to the hairdressers and insisted that they cut me a fringe, which was like the worst look for me in the whole world. I don't know where he is now. And I was involved in a sort of like friendship triangle in school, and I never thought about it as bullying at the time. I think like my mum always just said, oh, you know, this is girls, and my dad and my brother used to laugh about it. And I look back and I'm like, yeah, no, I was definitely bullied by her. She made me feel absolutely rubbish, but no one labelled it. And, you know, the school were involved, but it wasn't a bullying matter. It was a just being girls matter. But I do look back now and I'm like, okay, yeah, she was not nice at all. Yes. I say, like, obviously my dad's like Marmite, and you know, and there's nothing worse than being a young girl with a dad who's Marmite, because it means people aren't going to like you just on first impressions, which obviously is not what you want when you're at an age when being liked is really important. But yeah, I've had not just the media being negative, but more like Twitter and like particularly the Daily Mail, as obviously you guys know. With all their comments, and some of them have been really, really horrible, to be honest. We can blame him. We can definitely blame the limelight on that. I've experienced a lot of really negative feedback. Well, I think I didn't deal with it for a long time. I think everyone always says, like, when you do, like, when articles like the Daily Mail, and you read the comment section, everyone says, like, don't read the comments. It's all anyone ever told me is, like, don't read the comments. But you actually, like, you really can't help it. Like, you know, when someone comments on your Facebook profile picture, you need to see what they've said, and it's much the same. I think initially I didn't deal with it at all when I was younger. I read it and it killed me a little bit inside, and then it would kill me a bit more. And then literally, eventually, like 3 months ago, I just had enough. I was just reading these comments. I was like, I don't deserve this. This is so unfair. And now it still really hurts. I haven't got over it as such, because you still read it and it still kind of crushes you. But in the same hand, you can kind of turn something really negative into something positive, and that's shining a light onto, like, internet bullies and this horrible dark space. So that's kind of how I'm dealing with it on my little mission. I have to say, since my Be Kind video, I haven't had a nasty word, and I don't know if that's just a coincidence or if I've done something less controversial recently, but I really haven't. The feedback I got to that video was just the nicest you could imagine, like people being genuinely kind, which I've never seen on social media, or not on my personal account anyway. So since then, actually, people have been incredibly, there were a couple of, you know, like people just for the sake of it, putting like this is rubbish. And it's like, oh, it's original. No, but I think like 90% of being confident is acting confident. I don't think anyone really is like all of this in real life. I think you always put it on. Everyone's always putting it on to a certain extent. I haven't always been confident. I was definitely not confident in school. I'm still scared to ask where the loos are in most restaurants. So I think I'm probably lacking a lot there. But I had a friend who I used to work with who sort of mentored my life a little bit, and she used to say the worst anyone can do is say no. And I think since that's come in, I'm like, right, okay, just try it. Like, you know, what's the worst anyone's going to say? And it's going to be no, and then you walk away and you never see them again. So yeah, no, I definitely haven't always been confident. I'm still not entirely sure I am now, but I'm getting there. I read my diaries the other day from school. I didn't even remember really keeping a diary, but I read my diaries the other day, and oh, it was so depressing. Because every single page I'm like, oh, I'm really fat, or oh my God, I want to lose weight, or this person's so good. I'm like, I read it now, I'm like, God, what a waste like, of paper, of energy, like stressing that for 10 years. Yeah, and I don't even know if it was from negative comments, but I spent most of my teen years just waking up every morning going, oh my God, please let me look in the mirror and be thin today. And I think that particularly got worse when people start saying like, oh, she's, you know, on Twitter and people you don't know, and they start saying, oh, she's really fat, or she's this, and it's kind of like, yeah, I know, like I'm feeling this already, can you stop bringing it home now? But I don't think I was ever really committed, because I've never done a diet that's lasted more than a day. I used to go to the gym at school and just sort of sit on the mat and hope that that would do it. So like, I don't know how upset I was, because I really didn't work that hard on it, but yeah, I wanted to change everything. I can't think of one thing that at one point or another I haven't gone, I want to change that, I want to change that. I've got no idea. There's so much. Like, I think weight was the biggest thing for me, and I think weight's the biggest thing for this. What I'm discovering with the blog is how massive weight is to absolutely everybody, and everyone. You know, even like I went to a 90-year-old's birthday party. First thing she said was, "Gosh, you've lost a lot of weight," and it's like that. It's such an important thing to everyone's lives now, this weight thing. And you're looking well, have you lost weight? No one ever says you're looking well, have you put on weight? And you know, you're hearing that, particularly as a child, you're hearing that your mum on a diet or your friends are on a diet or whatever. And then I think it's just so embedded into you that your weight's got to be this or that, and it's horrendous. Like, because you spend your whole life thriving for something, and then you get to 60 and you look back going, God, I look great. You know, I look back now, like a few years ago, when I remember it plain as day, age 16, hating that time in my life and hating how I looked. And I look back now and I'm like, yeah, I look pretty cool. Like, you know, it was working for me as a thing, but you know, I missed it all because I was too busy not liking it, which seems like an awful waste. But you were going to have to stop that. I was watching an advert for a TV, I was watching an advert on the TV for a company called Pretty Little Thing, and I hadn't heard of them, but they were a fashion line, and the models were so thin. I mean, just, you know, when you're watching something, you're like, something's like this. I Googled the company, I was so like confused by it, and the biggest clothes that they were stocking on a lot of their dresses was a size 12, which is what I was at the time. Like, I was a 14 on top, and I was just thinking like, this, hello, you know, is this what it is? And then I started looking at a lot of other like fashion websites, and it was really similar story, like, you know, 12's as big as they'll go on a lot of dresses and crop tops and stuff. So I wrote a piece which I've never published, and I've kept it for myself, but I called it Pretty Normal Me, playing on the Pretty Little Thing sort of element. And I never did anything with it, but I tried. You know, I was trying to work out who I was going to send it to, and I was making people read it. I was like, look what I'm saying. Like, this is so important. Like, no one's doing anything. And I think I just made enough people read this that they were like, well, you know, like, do something then. So I ended up starting the blog, and to be honest, I never imagined it would be like this. I was like, right, I'll help one person and then I'm done. And then I helped one person, I was like, oh, that felt really good. Like, I'm gonna try it again. Particularly for me, I needed this, and I know, like, I've got a 16-year-old sister, and like, I want this to be what she's reading, rather than always the Mail Online and always, you know, this and that and this negative. I wanted a little bit of like, a bit of a positive space on the internet. My mum, I'd say. I mean, she's amazing. Like, she's strong, she's girl power personified. Like, she's wicked. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's just mum. Like, that's that. Particularly like with the online stuff, like she does have Twitter, but she doesn't know how to use it, which is probably a blessing. Everything that I've had, you know, comments on the Daily Mail and stuff, she's had as well. It's kind of nice. Not nice for her to have it as well, but it's kind of nice that when I'm freaking out, she's like, I've done it too, they're all dicks, like, just, it's fine. And it doesn't make it fine, but it does make it a bit nicer that she does get it. Like, I must have been hell. I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for everything. But she's, you know, she's always been there, and like, you particularly with the weight thing as well. Like I know, like jean shopping and all this, and I would just sit and cry in changing rooms. It was a weekly thing. I would just hate this, I hate this, and she just stood there every week, like, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right. And it's like, no, it's not. And she's like, yes, it is. Let's go have an ice cream. Love you. So yeah, she's been phenomenal, and she's just, you know, she's just got such control of her life, and she's the boss, definitely. My first bit of advice is don't change, and don't try to, and don't wish to. You know, it's not even worth it. I'm really sorry. Boo, you stop that. What I would give you for that would be my own experience, which is that both the people in my life that I would consider to have bullied me, I can't remember what they look like. They could go on, both of them, and be like, I don't know, Prime Minister and Chancellor of the Exchequer, and there would be nobodies to me, because I grew up and I left them, and I remember this girl's name, I remember her parents' names, I remember her house, but I cannot for the life of me put a face on her anymore. She's gone now, and you've got, I think if you are being bullied for that, you've got to remember that one day these people will be nobodies to you. But also in terms of changing your appearance, you know, you can't. There's some stuff you can't change, and it's your body, and that's your portal for your entire life. So you've got to take care of it, sure, but you've also got to try and enjoy it, because you haven't got an alternative. You haven't got, you know, you can't, short of plastic surgery, change anything. So you've got to learn to love what you've got. So rather than when you're looking in the mirror every morning, you can try maybe, and instead of always focusing on the negative, so for me that was always my stomach, I can instead just be like, oh, pretty good legs. Or if you know that someone's always going to bully you or tease you for one element, you've just got to come back with 10 times more confidence on something else, and just throw that in their faces and hope that one day they'll get bored, because they will in time. No, that destroys me. That is a horrible statistic, and much bigger than I thought it would have been. I don't actually know what to say to that, because it breaks my heart that people feel the need that it gets to that point. Humans are driving other humans to do that. I don't know what must be wrong in your life that you've got to make someone else that unhappy. I don't know what you do to change. I think actually I do know what you've got to do to change that, and that's people have just got to be kinder. Like, we've got to take into consideration that every person that you're having a go at, or every person that you're bullying, is a person, and they are going home, and they're going to be the daughter at home, and they're going to be a sister at home, and they're going to be a friend. Treat people how you'd like to be treated, but it's true, because that statistic's not good enough. Like, it's absolutely heartbreaking, and I don't know what you do to change it, but like, whatever we do, we've got to do it quickly, because it's really sad. Boo, stop it. I think the media have an incredibly negative impact on young people. I was thinking about this the other day. I was doing a bit of research for the blog, and when I was growing up and when I was at school, like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Avril Lavigne, they were like my idols, right? They were cool at the time. But on the same hand, I knew them because of their music and their music videos, which I had on, you know, CD. But I didn't know them for going to the shops without makeup on, or I didn't know them for their post-baby weight, and I didn't know them for having a spot. I just knew them for, you know, what they were. You know, at the time I was doing the only newspaper I ever read was the Fun Day Times supplement on Sundays. And now, you know, you've got like the Mail Online, you've got all these, you know, like every newspaper is on Facebook, and it's popping up here, and it's on Twitter, and you know, even if you're not actively looking for it, you will see articles of celebrities going to the shops without, you know, their makeup done, and you lose it became, for me, you know, it's gone from when we were younger, which was like, oh my God, Britney's amazing, even when she's like shaved her head and using this umbrella, she was still so cool and whatever. But now, you know, the papers are really trying to strip back all of this idleness, stopping them being idols. You know, it's exposing them as humans, but in such a negative way that I think it's actually encouraging kids or people in general, where if a journalist can be like, oh, looking a bit fat. It means that I kind of feel like it's all right to go, oh, looking a bit fat. And it's not all right for any of us to do that. But I think that shift in this, the news just being constant means that we've all got to have our say, and it's not a nice say anymore. So I think it's having a really negative impact. I think the pressure is massive. For me, if I go out for lunch with my dad, just in case, I'm like, get the bronzer on, they're gonna say you're looking pale, like tightest jeans, big jumper, they'll never know that you've had a massive cake. And I shouldn't have to think like that just because of what the media are gonna say or what everyone else is gonna say. So yeah, it's having a horrible, horrible impact. Making people scared to eat and scared to have spots or scared to forget to wash their hair one day. Like, we're all humans. This is a really tricky one, because actually society at the minute is doing its best with this body positive movement, which is wonderful. It's not going quite as well as I think it was supposed to go, because obviously there's been the size zero culture for years, which we've needed quite rightly to do something about, because that is horrible. But that actually hasn't gone anywhere. But what has come as well is the plus size movement, which started off as wonderful, but at this point has become a sort of like adverse. There's now two of them. It's like two teams. We've got plus size and size zero, and then there's still this whopping great gap in the middle for people that aren't either. So it's not been the most successful campaign, but that said, it has shone a really important light on a lot of issues. So I think in time it's going to get, people are just got to keep doing what they, because the people are there and the willing is there, and like blogs like mine, we are everywhere. So I think, we've got to keep going, and don't think that it's got better, or like that we've won because there's a plus size model on the catwalk, because she's still a size 8. We've still got a huge long way to go. Definitely agree with it in that I don't think you bully for no reason. I don't think people are born unkind, and I don't think people are born with that need to hurt people. I think you're probably exposed to it, or you feel an insecurity within yourself, and then it's something that you need to project onto others, which is sad, but obviously all too common. So I think it is a really effective, and it's sort of, it's all very well dealing with the bullied, but there is a huge support network for them, and that's wonderful, and that should never go anywhere. But it is important as well, I think, to deal with obviously people who feel the need to be this unkind. Just inject a bit of kindness their way. I think we've sort of slightly touched on this already. I think it's a lot to do with what's around them, and I can't even blame people anymore. Like, I really used to, I used to really judge people on when my friends were being bitchy or whatever. Since I started the blog, I've really had to notice in myself, like when I look at someone, and I have no shame now in admitting that sometimes when I used to look at people, I'd go, in my head always, but I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't have worn that, or that was brave, and I'd be being catty in my own head. And then when I'd start saying it to my boyfriend, and I was being a dick, but I'd say stuff to my boyfriend and he'd be like, the blog, and I was like, no, you're right. And then I sort of sat myself down like last Christmas and was like, no, seriously, actually, like, there is something really wrong with me that I feel the need to do this. But it's not like I didn't have a problem, and it wasn't like I was pushing people on the street. It was just little judgments I was making to myself, which I shouldn't have been doing. And I think I was just so used to living in a place where everyone does it, and amongst my friends as well, we'll sort of tease each other for what we're wearing, or if we've had a disaster, or So I think maybe I was just used to it, and it's a horrible thing to have got used to and to find myself doing, particularly when I'm shaming people all the time for doing it. So since then, I've really, like, every thought I have now, I'm like, I just flip it, and I'm like, yeah, she's looking good, like, you know what I mean? And I started telling people as well, because that makes, like, they all think I'm a creep up and down at the bus stop, and I'm like, I love your hair. They're like, weird. But I think it does make a massive difference in your head to flip it, because I think whether we like it or not, we all have become slightly inherently catty, just because, I think women generally are just a bit cattier, so we do need to work a bit harder to stop doing that. And I'm proof that when you can get there in your head, then everything gets much nicer. Like, because I was thinking about this the other day with men particularly as well, because we spend so much time, women, you know, thinking, oh, we're doing it to impress the men. And still now, like, I've been in the same relationship for 3 years with a guy who genuinely couldn't give a shit what I looked like. And now when I get dressed up, and I did this article about makeup, and I was thinking about it, I was like, why am I really wearing it? Because I'm not wearing it for him all the time, you know, when I'm at home on my own or he's away. It's like, I'm wearing it for other women. I'm wearing it because they're going to look at me and go, oh, I spy an anemic, or, you know, like, a bit spotty or whatever. And you do it. We don't just do it as much as we say we do. We don't do it for us. And I think a lot of us don't do it for men either. I think we do it because we're really scared of each other. There's a lot of work to be done there. People have really got to start shifting their brains to just, you know, just pretend you're saying it to her face. Oh my gosh. You see, you want to say something noble, like you'd cure AIDS, which I would, and I'd cure cancer, and that's what I would change. It's such a thinker. I would make people kinder. It sounds like really that Mean Girls scene. You know, she's like, I just want to bake a cake with rainbows. I don't want to do that, but I would love if we could just, if everyone would be nice. I would love to see the world if everyone was nice. It would just be amazing, even for a day, just to walk up and down the street and see everyone being like wonderfully nice to each other. That would be great. So, in line with the like Pretty Normal Me message, I think it would just be kind. Everyone would be kind.